waving to the girls in the stands. He's kicking me to high heaven.
If I see one comment about my wet hair, I'm deleting my channel. Hi, I'm back. Today was my first day of school, and it was pretty okay. I am about halfway through the second U book. I figured I would give you guys a little treat while you're waiting, all 5 of you. We're gonna do BROKEBACK today, which is one of my favorite movies and also a favorite book. You can tell it is well loved. There's just something about queer media that, like, harrowing queer media, most queer media is just like really sad for no reason. So anyway, I have my melatonin tea and my BROKEBACK Mountain mug that I made. I'll show you the other side later because it's a spoiler. Also, I'm dressed like a cowboy. Anyway, we start off in Wyoming. There are 2 cattle ranchers going up to the mountains for a summer to herd sheep or mind sheep, make sure they can graze and they don't get lost. One of them, his name is Ennis Del Mar. He is very stoic and quiet and shy. Like, he doesn't talk much. It's tough for him to come out of his shell. The other one's named Jack Twist. He's the more outgoing one, the one who initiates the friendship. He's the one who says first, like, hi, I'm Jack Twist. What's your name? Make it up to the mountain, and at first they're not really talking. They're taking shifts. Like, one of them will sleep during the day, the other one sleeps during the night. One of them stays at camp and cooks. The other one, who stays up during the night, goes to mind the sheep, whatever. So Jack is still trying to get Ennis out of his shell because, you know, like I said, Ennis is very shy, no nonsense. He doesn't really, like, give a gaff. Jack Twist is kind of getting him out of his shell a little bit. Like, Jack Twist he comes from rodeo people, and Ennis comes from ranch people, and they're both pretty poor. Like, Ennis's parents died when he was young, so it was just him and his siblings, and he, like, the money that his dad left for Ennis to go to high school was, like, used, so he couldn't go to high school. Like, they just lived very tough lives. Jack also, like, was very poor. Like, his dad was a rodeo clown. Like, they start off a conversation like that. Like, Jack starts talking about rodeo, and Ennis starts talking about the ranch, and they, like, hit it off. They're becoming kind of friends a little bit. And Jack is complaining about a night shift where he has to go and watch the sheep. He's like, I barely get any sleep. Like, it's rough out there. And Ennis is like, do you want to switch? Like, you want to switch? And Jack is like, yeah, if you don't mind. So they switch. Jack starts cooking, and Ennis starts doing the night shift, sleep up on the mountains. But it's getting kind of cold. Like, it starts snowing, and it's at this point that Jack starts complaining about beans. He's like, I'm sick of beans. Like, we're just eating beans all the time. And Ennis has to go pick up a grocery, like, supplies haul, like, weekly. He's like, if you can't fix it, you gotta stand it. Like, you gotta thug it out and eat these beans. He's like, I'm sick of beans. Like, why can't we have soup or something? And Ennis is like, just thug it out. And then that week, when he goes to get the grocery supplies, he writes on a list for next week, like, I'm sick of beans, start with soup. And the guy's like, it's too early in the season to ask for soup. And he's like, I'm sick of beans. Like, he's getting that soup for his husband. It starts getting cold, like, snowing, raining, whatever, and Ennis is too tired to go back up on the mountain. Like, I think they got drunk that night, and he's too tired to go back up on the mountain during his shift, so he just stays the night at camp. And he's outside of the tent, and Jack is inside the tent. And obviously Ennis is cold, like, exposed to the elements. Jack, like, wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's like, get your ass in here, like, it's cold, like, just come inside the tent. So Ennis enters the tent, and they are, like, sleeping side by side in their little sleeping bags. And then Jack pulls Ennis's hand, like, his arm around him, and he's like, get the fuck off. Like, he wakes him, and he's like, get the fuck off me. And then they just, like, look at each other, and then they start boinking. Like, that's all it took. Like, there was a lot of tension before that. Ennis is planning to marry a woman named Alma when he gets off the mountain. Like, once their job is done, he's planning to go back home and marry a woman, and Jack has nobody. After that, like, it's kind of awkward between them. They're just, like, kind of not really talking. Ennis is like, you know, I ain't no queer. And Jack's like, me neither. Sure, right. So anyway, they start kind of falling in love a little bit. Like, they are very, like, playful honeymoon, like, they're in love. Start, like, exchanging childhood stories, and Ennis tells Jack that when he was really young, like maybe 6 or 7 years old, his dad took him to go see this gay guy get beaten up, like, hate crime, basically, like, killed for being gay. And he was just like, that deterred me forever from being different in any way, but especially from being queer, because that's what happens to gay people. Like, if you get found out that you're gay, like, they're gonna beat you up. They're kind of just bonding and falling in love. And their boss sees them blinking one day. Like, he's spying on them from higher up in the mountain, and he sees them, like, being a little, like, in his eyes, what is, like, inappropriate and queer. So he calls them down from the mountain, like, a little early, and he pays them. He tells them to go home, and Jack is like, we have this job again next summer, and he's like, you guys fucking suck at your job. You lost, like, a quarter of my sheep, and I didn't pay for you to, like, stem the rows. And Jack's like, fuck. They part ways, and Jack is like, I'll see you around, like, good luck with Alma. And then Jack drives away, and Ennis, like, is so sick with it. Like, he physically is ill. Like, he starts bending over and throwing up, like, leaning against the wall. It's insane. It's like a year later, Ennis gets married to Alma. They have 2 baby girls, Alma Jr. and the other one, I don't really know her name. Alma Jr. and Jenny, the two daughters. Jack went back to working for the rodeo. He meets this girl from Texas named Lorene. She is fucking filthy rich, loaded. Like, her dad owns, like, farm equipment. Like, he sells farm equipment. So she's rich. He marries into that wealth, and together they have a son. After, like, 3 or 4 years, Jack writes Ennis, and he's like, I'm dropping by the 24th. Like, send me a line if you're there. It's been too long. Like, this letter is long overdue. And so Ennis writes back, and he's like, yeah, I'll be here. So Jack pulls up to Ennis's house, where he has Alma and Alma Jr. and Jenny. And Ennis sees him through the window, and he runs all the way downstairs to greet him. And then he, like, looks around, and he and Jack, like, kiss against the wall, like, hidden. Or so he thinks, hidden, but Alma, Ennis's wife, can see from the window, like, they're kissing, and he's like, she's like, okay. He brings Jack up to meet Alma very briefly, and they go out for drinks, and he's like, I don't know if, Ennis tells Alma, like, I don't know if I'll be back, and she's like, can you bring me a pack of smokes? And he's like, I have some in my shirt, like, fuck you, bitch, like, I'm going out with my husband. So they rent a hotel room, they boink, and they're smoking and whatever, and they're talking about how long it's been. It's like another 2 years later, Ennis and Alma get a divorce because they are poor, and they have 2 kids, and Ennis and Alma just can't stop making kids. And Alma's like, don't put kids in me if you can't support them, because obviously they're poor. Ennis works on a ranch, like, part-time, and Alma works at a grocery store. They can't afford childcare. They can barely afford the necessities. And he's like, don't talk to me that way, bitch. Like, I'm your husband, you're my wife. And she's like, I know something you don't know. Jack gets word that Ennis and Alma have gotten a divorce, and he is hopeful that this means that Ennis has finally owned up to what he is, that he's finally accepted that he's gay or queer. So Jack races up, I guess, because Ennis lives in Wyoming, Jack lives in Texas. Jack races up from Texas to meet Ennis at his new place, because he's living separate from Alma now. And Jack is like, get away with me, like, we'll go to my parents' ranch, like, we'll fix up my parents' ranch, like, it's fine, like, we can finally be together and live the life we've lived, like, we've always wanted to live. And Ennis is like, no, like, I still have my daughters. His daughters are still young, and he still has, like, they're splitting custody, him and Alma, and he has to pay child support. Like, he can't go nowhere. Even though, technically, he's free, he can't just leave his daughters. Like, he would not do that. So Jack is pissed, and he goes down to Mexico to get rough trade, if you will. And yeah, they're just kind of living their separate lives. Jack is getting cooked by Lorene's, his father-in-law. Like, his father-in-law is very, like, macho. Like, my precious baby daughter's husband, like, means nothing to me. Like, there's a time when, like, Jack and Lorene are having her parents over for Thanksgiving dinner, and his father-in-law is cutting the turkey, and his son is watching TV, and Jack is like, get your eyes off the TV, like, we'll watch it later, like, focus on the food your mother made for you, like, she slaved in the kitchen for hours, like, eat the food your mom made you. And his father-in-law is like, oh, I don't give a fuck, like, turn on the football game, it's Thanksgiving. And he's like, they go back and forth about it, and Jack's like, sit your bigoted ass down, like, I don't give a fuck, this is not your house, like, you're a guest in my house, sit down, we're not watching TV during Thanksgiving. So it's just everywhere, like, very much getting cooked by his father-in-law. Ennis, on the other hand, his ex-wife Alma has remarried, and he, like, gets occasional visits from his eldest daughter, Alma Jr., not so much Jenny, but he's also moving on, like, he gets a girlfriend. Alma has Ennis over for Thanksgiving with the kids and her new husband, and whatever, like, dinner goes fine. Obviously his daughters are, like, really interested in his life because he's a rancher, and they think that's super cool because they live in the city and whatever. After dinner, Ennis and Alma are in the kitchen doing dishes, and Alma is like, I know what you are. And he's like, what? And she's like, when you said you were going on a fishing trip all those years ago, because he would go on, like, fishing trips with Jack. He was like, when you would go on fishing trips all those years ago, I tied a note to the end of your fishing pole that said, like, bring back lots of trout, love you, Ennis, from Alma. And when he got back from his trip, she checked the fishing pole, and her note was still at the end, and the tags hadn't been taken off the fishing pole. And she was like, Jack Twist, more like Jack Nasty. And he's like, shut your fucking mouth, and he almost hits her. And then he storms out. And he's, like, very paranoid because he's like, what if people in town know? Like, who is she told? He breaks up with the girl. Him and Jack are going fine. They don't see each other a lot just because they both have lives, whatever. But there's this one final time that they see each other. Final time. They go up to the mountains again. And at this point they're like 40 or 50 years old. Like, it's been a good 20 years. And they have a good weekend, and then Ennis is like, I can't come see you in August, like, it's gonna have to be November. And Jack's like, what in the hell ever happened to August? And he was like, Ennis is like, you forget what it's like to be poor, Jack, because Jack is now rich via his wife. He's like, I can't afford child support payments if I'm always taking time off to see you. I still have to pay rent, I still have to pay child support, like, I have other priorities other than you, unfortunately. And he was like, we'll come back in November, but the trade-off for me to get this time was August, so I can't come in August. And Jack is, like, pissed off, and he's like, this monologue, like, also, this book is so, like, poetic. He's like, Jack, I gotta work. Them earlier days, he used to just quit the jobs whenever he wanted to go see Jack. He's like, you got a wife with money, a good job, you forget how it is being broke all the time, you ever hear child support? The trade-off was August, like, do you have a better idea? And he said, I did once. Jack said, I did once. Oh my god, it's, like, so angsty and, like, unrequited love, but it's not unrequited. Like, they love each other and they can't do anything about it. Like, they're just resigned to their lives. Jack had told Ennis about Mexico because he was like, let's go down to Mexico together. And Ennis asks, you been to Mexico, Jack? And Jack is like, hell yes I've been, where's the fucking problem? And Ennis is like, I gotta say this to you one time, Jack, and I ain't fooling. What I don't know, all them things I don't know could get you killed if I should come to know them. Like, he's saying, like, you will get killed for being gay, like, you need to be careful. And Jack is like, try this one, and I'll say it just once. Tell you what, we could have had a good life together, fucking real good life. But you didn't want it, Ennis. So what we got now? It's Brokeback Mountain. Everything's built on that. That's all we got, boy. Fucking all. So I hope you know that if you don't never know the rest. You count the damn few times we've been together in nearly 20 years, and you measure the short fucking leash you keep me on. Then you ask me about Mexico, and then tell me you'll kill me for needing something I don't hardly never get. You got no fucking idea how bad it gets. I'm not you. I can't make it on a couple of high altitude fucks once or twice a year. You are too much for me, Ennis, you son of a whoreson bitch. I wish I knew how to quit you. That monologue will get me every time. Jake Gyllenhaal saying that monologue will get me every time, and it's like engraved in my brain. So that's kind of like they have a big fight, and that's the last thing that they say to each other then. And you can see there's them. Ennis is the blonde one, Jack is the brunette, and I said, I wish I knew how to quit you. Yeah, I know. So anyway, I think it's like a year later, Ennis receives, like, his postcard has been returned to sender because the recipient is deceased. He's dead. Jack is dead. So in a hurry, Ennis calls Jack's wife. He's like, what happened? And she's like, oh, like a tire blew up in his face and he died on impact. And as Lorena's telling Ennis all of this, Ennis can just picture in his head, like, Jack getting beaten with tire iron and bludgeoned in the face. Like, it suggests that that's what happened to him, but it's also just conjecture from Ennis's, like, his knowledge or his fears, his bias and projection of what he knows the consequences of being queer to be. So it's suggested that Ennis is bludgeoned and hate crimed for being gay, but it's not confirmed. And Ennis was right. All them things that he doesn't know will get you killed if you came to know them. So Lorene tells Ennis that his parents, Jack's parents, have his ashes, and that he wanted his ashes spread on Brokeback Mountain, where the bluebirds sing and there's a whiskey spring. Like, Ennis goes down to Texas to get Jack's ashes, and he talks to Ennis's parents, or Jack's parents. And the first summer that Jack and Ennis met, Ennis left a shirt up on the mountain. Like, he lost a shirt. He's like, I can't believe I left my fucking shirt up on that mountain. Which becomes important soon. So Ennis goes to visit Jack's parents. And he's like, my condolences. And his mom is like, you can go to his room. Ennis goes to Jack's room, and he sees that summer Jack stole Ennis's shirt and wrapped his around it. So it's like Ennis's shirt on the inside and then Jack's shirt on the outside. And Jack's shirt still has bloodstains on the cuff because, like, the first time they boinked afterwards, Ennis and Jack, like, physically fought, and there was blood on his sleeve, so whatever. And he brings the shirt up to his face, and he's like, Ennis speaks to Jack's parents, and he's like, I'll take his ashes up on Brokeback, like, that would be my honor. And Jack's dad is like, no, he'll be buried up on the family plot. He thought he was too good to be buried next to everybody else. And I was like, okay. Ennis takes the shirt with him back up to Wyoming. And for the next 10 years, he's just grieving. Like, insanely grieving. Like, just heavy, deep-rooted grief. He's all alone in a trailer. His daughters rarely come visit him anymore. He's not with his other girlfriend. Last scene of the book, Jack begins to appear in his dreams as he had first known him. And it's really, really, really fucking sad. Like, he's just grieving a life that could have been. In the movie, Alma Jr. comes to tell him he's getting married, and it marks the passage of time. And Then Alma Jr. leaves, and we see that Ennis has the shirts hung up on his closet with a picture, like a postcard from Brokeback. But this time, Ennis's shirt is on the outside and Jack's is on the inside, symbolizing that in the afterlife, Ennis is protecting Jack's memory and like holding a flame for him and like honoring his memory for someone who like let him be who he wants to be, which is something that he doesn't get to experience very often in his life, which is so incredibly powerful. And he's like, Jack, I swear, which I take as him finally owning up to his life. Like, I swear that I'm going to be more loving. I swear that I'm going to be more honest with myself, because that's something that he wasn't during Jack's lifetime. And obviously, once you find out that basically the love of your life died and you never got to experience the love of your life during their lifetime because you were afraid of confronting a part of you that is societally viewed as shameful, you want to make the change. It just carries such emotional weight, and it's so heavy. That's it. I just love gutting queer media, and Brokeback Mountain is it. I watched this for the first time last summer. I read it last summer. It's just so poignant, so powerful, and in one of the greatest queer love stories ever. Like, yes, of the 21st century, but ever. It's so gutting. Like, Walter Kern of New York said a standout story, Brokeback Mountain is the sad chronology of a love affair between two men who can't afford to call it that. They know what they're not queer, not gay, but have no idea who they are. That is it's so fucking, like, genuinely, it, like, brings pain to my heart every time I watch it. It's so good. It was written by a woman, which is, again, like, she just did it like nobody else could. I think Annie Proulx really hit the mark on this one. I think a lot of queer media portrays, like, there's a very common stereotype for queer media that there has to be one dominant, toxic figure who wants what they want, and then a more submissive, subdued character who goes along with it. And this kind of abolishes that cliche. Like, for example, Call Me By Your Name and Fellow Travelers, like, yes, those are the points of the story, that there's one character who has it more figured out and the other one who finds himself, but this story very much, it touches on that aspect of queer history, common problems or difficulties of queer relationships, without basing that solely on, like, without making that the entire point of the book, because it's different. They both, yes, you could say Jack knew what he wanted more than Ennis knew what he wanted, but Ennis knows what he wants, Jack knows what he wants, but they can't have it because of the time they live in and what it means for them and what the implications are, and the fact that they had already built lives or had lives planned by the time they met each other. Like, just right person, wrong time. And I think Jack died like 29 years before their relationship would ever be considered legal. Like, it's like a gut punch every single time. Like, oh my god, it's so very good. I highly recommend this. This reads, I think it's like 80 pages. You can read it, not even, it's 55 pages. You can read this in maybe 30 minutes, but the prose is so fucking harrowing. Like, there's, like, obviously inappropriate parts, but it's tasteful. It develops the story. They write Southern Old West so good. Like, Ennis went back to ranch work, hired on here and there, not getting much ahead, but glad enough to be around stock again, free to drop things, quit if he had to, and go into the mountains at short notice. He had no serious hard feelings, just a vague sense of getting shortchanged. Can you tell I'm putting on a southern accent? And showed it was alright by taking Thanksgiving dinner with Alma and her grocer's her new husband, and the kids, sitting between his girls and talking horses to them, telling jokes, trying not to be a sad daddy. It's really just so good. And then, like, the last page. Around that time, Jack began to appear in his dreams. Jack as he had first seen him, curly-headed and smiling and buck-toothed, talking about getting up off his pockets and into the control zone, but the can of beans with the spoon handle jutting out and balanced on the log was there as well, in a cartoon shape and lurid colors that gave the dreams a flavor of comic obscenity. The spoon handle was the kind that could be used as a tire iron. He would wake sometimes in grief, sometimes with an old sense of joy and release. There was some open space between what he knew and what he tried to believe, but nothing could be done about it, and if you can't fix it, you gotta stand it. That is another thing. If you can't fix it, you gotta stand it, is Ennis's motto. And the larger symbolism of that is if you can't fix, obviously it's a difficult era for queer people and queer history, and at the time they felt that there was nothing they could do to fix it, so they just had to live in the life they lived and they couldn't do anything about it. And it turned out to be that there was no way that Ennis could fix it because Jack had died. So now he has to live with the fact that he never got to be who he wanted to be or who he was with Jack because of the fear and implications of what that would mean for his life and what that would mean for the people who surround him. So his children, his ex-wife, like the fear, living in fear of being targeted like Jack had been targeted, or the guy that his dad took to go see get beat up. Like, there was queerness and there like ejecting during this time, but it was still so like there was so much prejudice against it that they couldn't fix it, so they just had to stand it. So yeah, that's it. One of the saddest things I've ever read, but also one of the best things I've ever read. Best movie. I highly recommend the movie. So many people had issues with the movie, which is complete bullshit, because you're a homophobe. You're a homophobe, genuinely. Like, I don't give a fuck. Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger have both said that it was very important to them that this movie be made, and it's one of their most important works of their career, and I am so glad that macho men like Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger would commit themselves to a project like this, because it shows them going above and beyond the societal implications of what it would mean for them as actors, like expanding beyond the societal box in a way that Ennis and Jack couldn't, which I just think is so beautiful. I could talk about this book forever, so I hope you enjoyed this. I will be out with another video soon. I'm glad this one came faster because I could talk about Brokeback Mountain all day. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope me and Ennis are matching. I guess me and Jack are matching. I meant to match with Ennis, but whatever. Yeah, cowboy up or shut up, baby. That's it. I hope you enjoyed.